Hi, my name is Emma Shields, and this is my Week 12 assignment. Hi, Jillian. It is so great to meet you. I'm excited to start our session today. So, before we begin, I actually just wanted to go over the confidentiality agreement.
Okay.
So, within our center, the only time that confidentiality would be breached would be if you were to have thoughts about harming yourself, if you had disclosed that you have thoughts about harming other people or intent to harm other people, or if there was a subpoena ordered by the court where we would have to legally give up information. Aside from that, anything that is shared within our sessions is completely between us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I just wanted to start off with going over your intake form. I know that you had said that you were struggling with a little bit of excessive drinking. That's more than your normal intake. How long has this been going on for?
Well, it's been progressing. So at the beginning of COVID, I had to take my mom out of a long-term care facility. She has dementia amongst some other things. And I thought it was only going to be for a couple of months. But here we are like 2 years later, and her health has declined. And it's been pretty much on me to take care of her. So there's been like a loss of services and things like that during COVID. And I work from home, so I would just find myself feeling trapped, sitting in front of the TV, and I'd pour myself a glass of wine, and before you know it, like the evening's gone and the bottle's gone. So that's been obviously something to be alarmed about.
Wow, that sounds like it's been a lot on you over these past 2 years. My goodness.
It has been.
How much would you say that you are drinking a week, if you could kind of estimate how much?
I mean, easily like a bottle a night.
Okay.
Or more sometimes on the weekends and things like that.
Okay. Has there been any time within that period where you've maybe had one night of not drinking, or
well, when I had COVID, I had like 5 or 6 nights of not drinking. There's been periods of time where I thought, okay, this is getting out of hand, but nothing for an extended period of time.
Okay. Have there been any sort of, aside from obviously the courage that you've had to come here today, which is absolutely phenomenal, has there been any thoughts along these past 2 years that, as your drinking has been progressing, that you've been thinking, you know what, I would really like to get some help, or maybe I shouldn't be drinking as much? Has there been any?
Well, I kind of know in my head that I shouldn't be. I mean, God forbid I would have to drive my mother to the hospital in the middle of the night. But what was the other question? Sorry.
I was just essentially wondering if there has been any contemplation previously during those years of maybe becoming sober. Has this been a thought through your mind at all?
Yeah, of course it has. And I think that I would hope that, I mean, if this resolved itself with COVID and I could put my mom back in the nursing home, I'd have much more companionship with my friends and things like that. I think it's the isolation that's really hurt me and created kind of this habitual situation.
Oh, it sounds like it, my goodness. I wanted to actually ask you a little bit more in depth. You've mentioned that you do live with your mother. I know that you had said there were some health concerns, and you've just shared now that she does have dementia. How is that? Has that affected your drinking at all? Have you had to care for her?
Oh, I have to do everything. I mean, sometimes she forgets to eat. She forgets to go to the toilet. She forgets to bathe. She tries to leave the house. So there's a lot of stress involved in her care.
Absolutely, I hear that. That must be absolutely exhausting for you. Um, Now, I also wanted to ask you, um, what what do you think your day to day life? Because you have your here and now idea of what a week looks like with your mother. You know the schedule. What do you think it would look like if drinking was not involved? The reason why I asked just now if the drinking has affected uh, your your situation with your mother and taking care of her is because I was wondering what a change to that would look like for you. What do you think the change, if you had no alcohol, what do you think that would look like? What would be the benefits of that?
I'd probably have less weight. That would be one benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wouldn't wake up with a headache in the morning. Um, I don't really know like what other benefits because we're still like I'm still bound in the house and I still am taking care of my mother. So I'm not sure what other benefits there'd be.
Mm-hmm. I hear that those are some great benefits. And it sounds like you have contemplated at least changing that, and clearly with being here that you're ready to start a journey of sobriety. So I applaud you. That has taken a lot of courage for you to be able to come in today, and to be able to share what's been going on at home and what you've had to be enduring over this past time. Being isolated is definitely mentally draining, and I cannot even imagine what it's like for you having to care for another human as well during that isolation, and having to take on that mental and emotional, and also physical, because I know with some dementia patients there's probably the showering that's needed, and
Hmm.
care that's more than just basic care.
Right. Hmm.
So that's amazing that you've been able to do that. Um, do you have any family that's around here? Do you have any
No,
family?
they all kind
No.
of live far away, and um, you know, because of COVID and
Mm-hmm.
restrictions, and I certainly didn't want my mother going into a hospital. That would not be
Mm-hmm.
the right place for her with her dementia. So we were not visiting each other. I mean, we talk on the phone, and she's forgotten, like she forgets who I am, she forgets who they are. So she has some contact when she's kind of with it,
Mm-hmm.
but there's been very little contact with family.
Oh my goodness, that puts a lot of the responsibility onto
Hmm.
you. Holy. Um, have you reached out to any of the family members about the difficulties that you've been having with caring for your mom and how your drinking has sort of,
I haven't mentioned the drinking.
yeah.
Um, that's not something I want to talk about necessarily with them, um, probably because there's a lot of shame in that. But the other thing too is that I don't think they really truly get what it's like to live with my mother right now because they're not with it day to day. They're only seeing little glimpses of it. So I don't think that they understand um, the scope of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's a few friends I've got, who their parents had dementia. One friend I have, her father just passed away of dementia, so she knows what it's like, and she was caring for her father at home too. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't really wanted to bother her lately because she just lost her dad. So there have been a few people that probably will know my situation with my mom, but don't know about the drinking necessarily.
Mm. I hear that there is that sense of shame with the drinking, so there is that emotion with that, and maybe you're a little bit afraid that um, you'll be seen as a little bit weaker with that, or that there will be some negative connotation from your family's side, if you were to open up and disclose about what you've been dealing with your drinking patterns. I also hear that there's a lot of fear um, on your end with sharing with other people what's been going on. Um, but from how you're explaining it, it sounds like it is such a burden on you right now that you have taken on a lot, and you're in a sort of survival mode right now
Oh,
currently.
definitely.
Yeah, trying to take that all on. Um, So what I'm thinking, and you said that you also have friends who have parents or are caring for somebody with dementia. That's a great network that you've already established so far. Um, there's a lot of understanding between you and those people, and what a great experience that is to have somebody who understands on a more personal level what you're going through,
Mm-hmm.
and knows you as a person, which is fantastic. I know that you were saying that you didn't really want to share with them about what you've been struggling with. And I completely understand that. I think it's not very easy to be able to open up and share the more vulnerable sides of your life, especially if you're saying that you do feel a sense of shame around, um, which we all have our coping strategies, and sometimes it's easier to have a more instant gratification, and I can understand your position how alcohol is kind of tied into that, in order for you to survive through that. So what I wanted to kind of direct to was creating a plan with you, because it sounds like you need a little bit more of a social circle. We're gonna help you in your journey. We're gonna work with you through your journey. We have counseling sessions that are one-on-one. We have group therapy, which is a phenomenal program, and it's all virtual. Well, we can offer a virtual, platform as well if
Well,
needed.
that would be the only way I could join it right now because I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, until I get some help with my mother, I won't be able to go and leave her. So I'd have to do virtual.
Yeah, it's very understandable, and I know you do definitely have that responsibility. So what I was going to direct into was, could we maybe create a plan where you have two close friends, and maybe let them know, or we could do a close friend and one family member. I know that you're very hesitant to bring family into this situation, but I think it would be a really great idea, because somebody within the family needs to know what is going on, because that's not very fair for you to deal with the burden of everything that's going on right now. And I understand that you were saying that other people have their own lives and they have their own schedules, or day-to-day ordeals, and that's very understandable. Um, but you also matter. So you need to be able to have that outlet as well, and not everything can fall back onto you. So I think it would be a great idea to sit down and create a plan of two people who you can sit down and talk to about what is going on, or at least just do a week-to-week check-in. Hey, this is how my week has been going. Maybe let that person know, what, as well as ourselves, I'm struggling a little bit more with drinking this week or not. And you know what? I have my insight, and it's great to have other people have their insight. I don't know you as well right now. I am so ecstatic to get to know you, and build that client relationship with you. But with not knowing you too in depth right now, I think it would be great to have somebody in your life who actually knows you in depth as well, and bring them into your therapeutic process, to help you grow and on your journey to sobriety. Does that sound like a good plan to you? Are you on board with that?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand how the accountability would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of a friend easier than I can think of a family member. So I'm just going to have to figure out which one would be the easiest person to talk to without necessarily them talking to everybody else in the family about it.
That does sound like a little bit of a problem.
So that would be the only hurdle, I think.
Okay, that sounds great. And with now I know you're your primary caregiver for your mom. Have you looked into any other possible alleviation of that responsibility, whether it be a friend or...
I couldn't ask a friend to do it. I mean, really, my mom's care is such that she doesn't know who people are. so she can get agitated. So if she needed to, have toileting done, it would need to be somebody who's trained in that. The difficulty is that there's been a shortage of PSWs, and all the adult day programs were kind of suspended. No, I could look into the PSWs again because it's been a while, or some nursing care or something like that. But it would have to be somebody who would know what they were doing.
Absolutely, and that's very understandable. You want the utmost care for your loved one. I think a PSW, we could also work that into the care and look through possible options. We might have to carry that on within our next session and do a breakdown of that. But I think that would be a really phenomenal idea, because what it sounds like is that this responsibility has burdened you so much that if there was less of a burden, there might possibly be less of an inclination to use alcohol as a suppressant.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, I think that would be a wonderful idea. So I think that we are going to end our session today. And I look forward to speaking with you next week, and we're going to cover your plan. We'll cover what the next steps are. Actually, before I end off the session, I just wanted to make sure that you are ready to begin this journey.
Yeah, I mean, I feel nervous about it, and I feel, but I know it's the right thing to do, so yes.
That's wonderful. It takes such courage to be able to come in here, so I applaud you for that, and the determination. Could we set, before we go, one last goal, maybe for this upcoming week? Maybe let's discuss maybe taking down one bottle of wine. I know that you say that you've been finishing about a bottle to 2 bottles a night.
On the weekends, it's more. So
okay, so
I think now that the weather is getting better, and I could get outside more, even just sitting in the backyard, that would, and getting away from the TV, I think that it would be more doable on the weekend than it would be during the weeknights.
Absolutely. And could there possibly be a plan in place where maybe it's 1 bottle less a week? And with being able to sit outside, you're also able to go for walks. So
well, I really can't.
Oh yes, because of your mother.
I mean, if I put her, if I could take her in a wheelchair, which I don't have, that would be an option, because she forgets, even the dementia, she stops walking. So I mean, I obviously have to look into some other options too, because even just getting her outside would be good too.
Or is there any hobbies of yours, something that could distract your mind?
Well, I do like gardening, so I mean, I'm looking forward to the spring and summer for that.
That would be wonderful. That sounds like a great hobby to have. That takes a lot of hard work. And a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of dedication. And if you can show a lot of dedication as well to that hobby, then I believe that you have the drive and the dedication to be able to achieve your goal that we're going to be setting. So that is phenomenal. It's been great to meet with you today.
You too.
And I look forward to our next session with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.